Hello guys, this is my uh, sixth video, seventh video of data science course. Actually, the fourth video in Python tutorial. So we will be covering these topics in this session: tuple, set, dictionary, function, lambda, iterators, generators, map, function or reduce, and filter. So let's start with tuples. Tuples in Python, tuples are similar to lists as we have done with the list in our last video, but they are immutable. That is, they cannot be changed. You would use the tuples to present data that shouldn't be changed, such as days of a week or dates on a calendar. In this session, we will get a brief overview of the following key topic: constructing tuples, how to construct a tuple, basic tuple methods, immutability, when to use tuples. You will have an intuition of how to use tuple based on what you have learned about lists, but tuples work very similar to lists, but the major difference is tuples are immutable, but means you cannot change the values in the tuples. So constructing a couple is like basically the same as of list, but we use round braces rather than using square braces. We use square braces in our list, but in tuples we use round braces, and that's how we declare a tuple, and that's how we like get to know what type of tuple is this. And we can also check the length of the tuple. That is the same function as we did in the list function. So let's move on. Can also mix object types. We can also mix object types as we did in list, like one is string and another one is integer or a float value. We can like mix object types. Then we can also sort these things, and these are the same. Actually, I'm not gonna repeat these things again because I have actually uh, covered these things with the help of like list, and they are actually the same, but I will be going to cover what is the difference between tuple and list. So keep watching. And slicing, just like as a list, we okay. So indexing is same, not in a couple. Okay. Yes. So these are the same. To index, and we can count. We have no. These are the things are the same. We have 0 1 in one of our tuple. Let me show you. We have 1 and 2, and we have to find which index at 2 is, so it is at 1, and how many times 1 is in our tuple. There is none, so we actually change it to 2, and it is actually 1. And if I try to t is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, then to do this, and then it will going to show us 2 because we have two twos in our tuple. Then then it's this is the basic difference between the tuples and the list. Tuples are immutable. It can be stressed enough and add more into it. To drive that point home, we can try to change the index, the value of zeros index, that is our 1. We want to change it to change. Then it will going to show us an error that tuple object does not support item assignment. We cannot change the values of tuple, and we can't even append in tuples. So when to use tuples? You may be wondering why to bother using tuple when they have a few available methods. Tuples are not used often as lists in programming, but are used when Immutability is necessary while you are passing around an object, and if you need to make sure that it does not get changed, the tuple become your solution. It provides a convenient source of data integrity. You should now be able to create and use tuples in your programming as well as have a complete understanding of their immutability. Now let's talk about set. Sets are an unordered collection of unique elements which can be constructed using set function. Let's go ahead and create a set. As we have created this set, this is now we have declared x as an set. We add to sets with add method like we do append in list. There is add method to add things in our set. So now you can see we have 3 in our sets. If I want to add few more things like 455 30 52, now okay, what I need to add this uh, now you can now you will understand that x only takes one argument at a time add in sets. So basically I'm adding 52 again, and now it will be 3 and 52. So keep on editing more, and now it will be 3 5 52, and it will also be in like ascending order, like we already added the added a number and we try to add it one more time, it will not be going to add in the sets because it gives you only unique items. If I try to add one oh, then it is going to add own, and if you want to add a, then it will going to be automatically change into a ascending order. So move on. Note that curly brackets do not indicate a dictionary. We will be learning about dictionary later on, but they are, as I have it is my duty to note you that curly brackets do not indicate dictionary always. Using only keys, you can draw analogies as a set being a dictionary. We know that a set has only a unique entry. Now let us see what has happened to try and so I've already told you about that. So let's keep on moving. So notice how it won't place another one. There is a set only consider within it. However, we can cast a list, multiply, repeat elements to a set to get the unique element. And this is a list, so we can like put it in our put it as much as repeated values in our list, but we can't do that in our set. That's why if we want to cast our a list into a set, then it will going to give us unique value pairs like 1 2 3 4 5, and in an order of ascending order. So now we have come to the different topic, which is dictionaries. So we have learned about sequences in the previous session. Sequentials is like 1 2 3. We mainly do this in our loops. So we have learned about sequences in the previous session. Now let's switch gears and learn about the mappings in Python. These dictionary are nothing but hash tables in other programming languages. In this section, we will learn briefly about an introduction to a dictionary and what it consists of. Constructing a library, assessing object from a dictionary, nexting dictionaries, and basic dictionary methods. Before that, let's understand what are mapping. Mappings are collection of objects that are stored by a key, that unlike a sequence, mapping stored objects by their relative position. This is an important distinction since mappings won't retain the order since they have objects defined a key. A Python dictionary consists of a key and then an associated value. That value can be almost any Python object. Now let's start. Let's see how we can construct dictionary to get a better understanding of how they work. So this is our basically a dictionary with the curly braces to signify a key and a value. We have a key pair like this is our key true, and key 2 is our key 1 is also our key, and key 1 again is also our key. So basically what we are trying here is we are making a dictionary, and we have true as a key and key 2 as a key and key 1, because the last one is having abc. Then uh, the program automatically ignored the first one which comes first, but it took the last one because it comes at last. So no worries if you are going to do this simultaneously with my coding practice. It will really going to be beneficial for you guys. And if I want to like print the values of which is having by my key number 2, then it is going to show value 2. This is our value and this is our key. Note that dictionary are very flexible in the data types they can hold. For example, they can hold any type of values, and dictionaries are also multi dimensional. We will be studying it later on. So now let's see. Not that the data they can hold any type of data types. These are integers, these are the strings. Then it has a list into it, so it's really easy. You can easily get this. If you have any problem regarding this, you can simply ask me in the comments. We can affect the values of a key as well. For instance, we can affect this key subtracts 1 2 3 from the value. We can also minus the value from like what the value is having, what will be the value of our keys. Like if key 1 has the value is 1 2 3, then 1 2 3 is going to minus with 1 2 3, and then we will going to get like 0. Oh wait, I didn't do that. So now you can see, select the object equal to itself minus minus, then it is going to minus 123 because we have a 0. And now it's we are actually doing, we are subtracting again, then it is becoming minus. Nesting with dictionary, as I've told you, it's like multi-dimensional. So nesting with dictionary is what I was trying to say. So let's understand how flexible Python is with the objects and calling methods on them. Let's have a look at the dictionary, nested in a dictionary. Now you can see we have a key, and then we have a value which is again a dictionary, and then we have a again then we again have a key, and then we again have a value as a dictionary, then we again have a key and value as a value. So don't be confused, it's really easy. We are actually doing key 1 and next key 1 and next key, and it is going to print this value. It is really simple. If you guys can, like, it is really simple. If you are a little bit comfortable with coding, these things are really very simple in Python. A few dictionary methods. I am going to show you some dictionary methods as well. Now you can see, create a typical dictionary. This is our dictionary. D is equal to key, these are the keys, and these are our values. Now method to return a list of all keys. So now we have f, which is having our keys of um, actually I want to print it first. Now you can see it is actually having like keys of these. Wait, print dictionary keys. It is having all the keys which is there. So let me do it again. Okay, we only have one key. Okay, wait. Now you can see what I was trying to say. Like now F is having all the keys of dictionary D, because we have used this method which helps in returning all the keys of a list. And there is another method similar to keys, which is the values, which helps in grabbing all the values of all the keys. So it's actually so easy, you can understand. And and I dot items is also another um, method which helps in giving the like key and the values of the into a list form. So move it. Dictionary comprehensions. So just like comprehensions, dictionary data type also support their own version of comprehension for food creation. It is not as commonly used as list comprehension, but the syntax is. So x colon x multiply by 2 for x in range 10. Range 10 means we are going 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. It's easy, you can google it, or let me show you guys. Range in Python, it's really easy. It has a starting point, it has an ending point, and also the step start point, stop point, and step. If we don't have any like a start or step point, there a stop method is must for range. And it will always going to mark start as one, and step as also one. If we did not mention start and step parameter, it is going to take it as one both side, or not. From start it was going to take it as default 0, but stop is required, and it is compulsory to put this parameter. So you guys know that. Now x colon x is for x. Now we are actually making a comprehension, like if we have 0 keys, then we are going to put in this 0 into 2, then it is going to 0. And then if we put in 1 here, and then 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2 1. It is actually multiply means it is actually squaring this the number. So let's 2, then 4 3 9 4 16. Now one of the reason is the difficulty in structuring the key names that are not based on the values. So now let's talk about functions. Functions are really easy to like use in Python. Define, this is the syntax of the function. You just need to put define and the name of the function and parentheses, and you don't need to put two arguments. You can work on one argument, you can put it only one. This is where we will put an argument, actually parameters. And you need to put this colon, and we need to press and enter. And please keep in mind, you need to put indentation at the right place. Okay, so let's move forward. A simple print hello function. Now you can see def, it is our function name, and we don't need any parameters over here, so just shift and enter. Now it going to print hello, so we need to call the function. So here we are going to call it. So if I want to change it, like JAI jam, now it is printing jam, a simple greeting function hello. If we want to write like here greeting name we where we are putting as an argument, just we need to put like greeting. Let me first percentage d is like we are using this percentage name which is getting, like we have put 90 in our function, then it is going to in here, and then it will be going to here, and then it will going to take it here, and then it will print hello 90. But let me change it first, like I will change it with jar. It is the same, so I will put it in quotes. So okay, and the format number is required, not a string. Okay, this is actually an integer, so it will not be going to take it. Otherwise you we can also use this function like dot format and put our thing over here. Now you can see that function was actually for the integer values. Now I have done it in the string values, and if you want to change it, guys, I can change it for you guys like this. Now you can see now it will going to print hello 90. So let's move forward using return. Return is the statement we need to return the statements in our function. Like now you can see we have two arguments over here, and we are actually additioning the two numbers. Now you can see it actually added the 4 and 5 over here. So please you just need to keep in mind that indentation is proper, and there is nothing difficult about any function. uh, so move on. What is about this? One is string, so we can't do string over there. Just put it 5 and now it will be working. So it's just a function where we need to check this is prime or not. I think you should be doing this as a homework or as a practice, I think. And but I am going to give you the solution. This is over here. You can just rewind my video. And guys, actually one thing I want to say, please try to watch my videos in 1.5x mode or 2x mode, because the speed I am teaching you guys is very slow. As per your convenience, I wanted to share this thing with you guys. Otherwise you can go it with 1x or 1.25x. It's actually your preference, but I was when I saw my videos, it is actually kind of very slow. But there is nothing I can do for that. So guys, please cooperate with these things. Then move it forward. Iterators and generator. Iterators are actually the things like iterators are actually the loops which iterates over the sequence. So now we have generate or generate our function for the cube of numbers, power of 6. We now need to create a function which will generate cubes. So definition, this is a normal syntax for a function, and then we are applying a loop over here for number in range n, where n is our argument like parameter. Then we are going to put it over here for x in generation cube is our function name, and 10 is our till we need 10 10 values, so there are 10. Then print x. Now if we take this print, this is going to take it first 1, sorry, that is going to take 1. Then it will start with 0 actually. So it will going to start with 0 because I told you about the range function always starts with 0. So uh, actually the 10 is going to be over here, but then we're going to start with 0, and yield number 0 into 0, 0 into 0 into 0 is 0. So it is like printing x, this is 0, then it is going to be 1, and it is 1 into 1 into 1 is 1, and then it will be changing into 2, then it will 2 into 2 into 2, and it will going to be 2 8, and that's it is going to move it forward. So next is this for I in I. This is our string, and this is our, it will just going to print string line by line. There is nothing big deal about it. Now it is about how to generate a Fibonacci sequence up to n. So here is a function. um, I have told you to write a function of a prime number, but I want to know if you guys, I think if you, it will be it will be good if you can do it by yourself, but I am going to explain you guys a little about Fibonacci. Like we have defined a function, just use a argument, and then you need to put a is equal to 1. And Fibonacci, let me show you guys what is Fibonacci series. This is actually like starts with 1 and 0, and then it going to add like 0 1 1 2 3, like now you can understand what is like 0 1, and then it is going to uh, add this both number, then it is going to add this both number and give this, and then it will going to add this both number, and then so actually the addition of last two numbers will give us the third number. So a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1, print 1 for the first line, and then we can start to the, like for I in I range, if we put it over a 10, 10 minus 1, and then a is going to be our 1, and b is 1 as well. But now you can see a is going to be b, like b, what we have in b is b, we will be having 1, then after uh, b we will be having a plus b. A is our 1, b is our 1, so it will going to change as a 2, so we will be having 2 as a b, and later on that's how it will going to be increased. It's actually, it's in your mind, you can read it by yourself or just try it once, and it will be easy. It is not at all difficult. So let's move on. And this is a normal function, same as we did in above. So move forward. Let's talk about mapping. Mapping is a function that takes two arguments, a function and a sequence iterable. Maps take two arguments. First parameter will be a function, and the other parameter or argument is a sequence. So let me explain you guys with an example. Let's take example of like we have this map Fahrenheit temperature. What we have here in map is Fahrenheit, which is our a function. Okay, and what we have as a temp is our list. Okay, now we are going to use this list in our function Fahrenheit. This is what map means. I know this is a little bit tricky on the other YouTube channels or on Google, but I'm going to explain it in a very easy way, that first argument is a function and the another argument is our list. So basically a sequence iterable. It can be a list or it can be a like a loop. So don't get confused. So we are putting these temperature values in our Fahrenheit functions. So one by one, and it will going to show us like this. And Fahrenheit the function is doing this mathematical thing, which is float 9 divided by 5 multiplied by t, which is actually giving us some float value plus 32. So that converts that temperature value into Fahrenheit, and we need to convert it back. So we have another map function over here, and Celsius is a function, and f temp is our list. Now you can see f temp is our list. Now we are going to put this f10 tab list in our Celsius function, which is over here, and the same thing what we have done in our this function. The same thing is going, but it is going in backward, so it is converting. So it's easy. Now if we move forward, we have a function of reduce. The function reduce continually applies the function to sequence. It then returns a single value. Like I want to explain this with this image. Like with also with this function. For to apply a reduce, we need to actually import this function from function tools. So we are actually using is we have a list which is over here, and we have a reduce, and lambda is our function. Lambda is a function which is predefined in Python. It actually converts the two three lines of code into one. So now we have a b and a plus b is list. What it is actually doing, this is our function, this is which I have selected, and this is our sequential iterable, like that we have done in our map function. It is actually basically same. So now we have list, we have going to apply this a plus b, then it all will be coming as a, and this will be a b. Then it will going to add like this sdfs sdfs, and it will be all be going to add. Or I can show you with some meaningful words. Meaningful words. So now we have words. So it basically just added the three numbers, and I can explain it with this image as well. Pretend that is 47 is over here, 11 is over here, 42 is over here, and 13 is over here. Then first we had this two, and then 50 is going add to 50, 42, then it is going 100, then 100 and 13 will going to be added. That's how we do with the reduce function. And now this thing you guys can do it by it yourself. It's really easy. So now goes into filter. The function filter has arguments like function and a list, same as in map and reduce. Offers a convenient way to filter out all the elements of an iterable for which the function returns true. So the function filter function and list needs a function as its first argument. As I have told you earlier, the function needs to return a boolean value, either true or false. This filter actually returns the value and boolean value, either true or false. This function will be applied to every element of the iterable. Only if the function returns true will the element of the iterable be included in the. Let's see some examples. And like we have even check. Now we need to return is true. uh, Now we have a list. We have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. We are putting a filter and then a function of function at argument number 1, and then putting list in argument number 2. Then we are applying this in this function, even check, and this whole list will be going to go in this num by sequentially, like first will be go there, and if it is true, if it is false, it will not going to show up here. If it is like second number is over 2, then 2 is num, then it is taking num percentage do to percentage means modulus is like the remainder. If 2 divided by 2 gives you 0 remainder, it means it is true, so it is having it is actually having it here. So and so keep it forward, like 3 can 3 percentage 2 gives you remainder 1, which is not equal to 0, so it return false. That's why it is not the number 3 is not here in this list. So this is the same thing as I've told you earlier, lambda, which helps the function to convert it into a single line. And now that's it. Thank you guys. We have actually covered function, lambda, map, and dictionary in this session. So bye bye guys, see you in next video. Thank you guys.